You know, when I think about teachers who've had an impact on me, actually I've had one every step of my journey. From my most recent journeys of graduate school, Berenice Fisher, Pris Pemberton, Mrs. Scarlett. But when I think back when I was a kid, the teacher undoubtedly is Mrs. Evelyn Maxwell. Now, I had Ms. Maxwell when I was in the 5th and 6th grade. For 2 years, I had Mrs. Maxwell as a teacher. I was one of those kids they said didn't do well on the California Achievement Test. In Mrs. Maxwell's class, it didn't matter that I didn't, quote, do well on that California Achievement Test, because she figured out how I best learn. In Mrs. Maxwell's class, we wrote poems, and we were the poets, and we signed our poetry with our name. We did choral speaking in Mrs. Maxwell's class. Between the dark and the daylight, when the night begins to lure, comes a pause in the day's occupation. That was in the 5th grade. We had a garden in the yard, the school yard, and I was in charge of the carrot row. We produced plays, and I was the prop editor. She was the kind of teacher who figured out how the kid best learns, and it was her job to teach us. And that's what she did. I was a kid who had, you know, a lot of mouth and had an opinion. Every time I'd open my mouth in Mrs. Maxwell's class, she would figure out a way to use what I said to turn it into something that was meaningful, not only for me, but for others. Mrs. Maxwell believed in my ability. She made me feel like I matter. She was a person who took her work seriously and made us feel that we were being taken seriously. When I think of what she did for me as a child in my own teaching, I try to do that with other people's children, no matter how young or how old they are, but always starting by building that relationship and tapping into the child's strengths and abilities so that can circle around to other things they may need to know to further their lives and fulfill their potential. Everyone should have a Mrs. Maxwell.